Okay, well, good Thursday night, New York Jet fans and NFL fans. It is October 12th, 2023, 8:48 p.m., and week 6 of the NFL season is underway. I have in the background the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos from Arrowhead. And right now it's 3-0 Kansas City, 2:01 remaining first quarter. So far, Russell Wilson has thrown an interception, and Patrick Mahomes has thrown an interception. They're actually reviewing a fumble on McLaughlin, but that was overturned. He was on the ground when the ball came out. So I'm going to vent a little bit about this game. So, the whole thing with Taylor Swift being in the box a couple of weeks back at KC, and then they made the big thing on Monday Night Football when they played the Jets about 10 days ago. So Kelsey, Travis Kelsey is on the injured list and listed as I think it was questionable. And the reasoning behind them saying that he was playing, and this is the radio broadcast in the tri-state. The reason they said that Kelsey was playing was Taylor Swift um, was going to be attending the game, and she wouldn't attend the game if she wasn't playing. So that's what it's come to. The injury reports on the active and inactive is if Taylor Swift is attending the Chiefs game or not. Then the game is on Prime tonight, and it's also opening night for the Rangers, and they're up 2-0. It was going into the second period in Buffalo. So I was switching back and forth, and I went to Prime, and I didn't realize it, but it was still too early. It was a little after 8. The game didn't start yet. So I went back and I put on NFL Network or NFL Game Day, whatever it was, and they did a promo for tonight's game. And in the 30-second or 45-second promo, whatever it was, a minute, they showed Kelsey and Taylor Swift in 5 or 6 different shots. So you have two Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, two AFC teams. Kansas City being the new America's team, I guess, they're taking over for where the Patriots took it from the Cowboys. Um, and you have, the Broncos coming off that big loss. They're 1-4. They lost to the Jets on Sunday. Russell Wilson, Sean Payton, the whole thing, and that was the promo. So either this matchup is just so out of whack for the NFL, or they're just riding the Taylor Swift gravy train. But anyway, we're here to talk about the Jets and their matchup this weekend. And if you look at historical and statistics, the Jets should not even be in this game on Sunday. When I show my picks a little later on, the Jets are actually a 7-point underdog at home. So they're like a 10-point underdog. They usually say you get 3.5 for the home team. But it's just one of those teams. This is the only team in the NFL the Jets have never beaten. They have faced them 12 times. They are 0-12. I have sat through in person, I want to say four or five. Obviously, they play each other every 4 years. Now it's a little bit closer because they do that 17th game. They throw an extra team in. So this year it's the Eagles. I believe 2 years ago it was the Eagles also. Last year was the Eagles also. I forget. So I've sat, a few of these games. The first time I ever went to an Eagles Jet game, first year me and my father started going to the games. It was 1993, so it was 30 years ago, and it was Boomer Esiason, Ronnie Lott, Leonard Marshall, um, Johnny Mitchell, the tight end Johnny Mitchell, Randall Cunningham, um, Eric Allen, Mark Bavaro was their tight end. And it was, I believe it was a late game. It was a 4 o'clock game. And I remember back then, it was a CBS game. So back in the early 90s, it was Channel 2 had the NFC games, Channel 4 NBC had the AFC games. Because this was a AFC team at home playing an NFC team, Channel 2 got the call, and it was Madden and Summerall. And the Jets got up to a 21-0 lead. And I could still remember first of all, it was a packed house. They're playing the Eagles, so you had Eagle fans there, but mostly Jet fans. It was not like now because the whole stadium was season ticket holders at that point. Um, and the week prior, okay, the Jets played Sunday Night Football and they destroyed Bill Parcells and the Patriots and Drew Bledsoe. I think it was 45-10 or 45-3. I mean, everything that Boomer threw up in the air was caught, and they scored, and Adrian Morrell scored, and whatnot. And I can remember, and I watched highlights of this a couple of days ago. The commentator, I think it was the radio commentator, saying, Randall Cunningham and the Eagles must be at home watching this game, saying, "Uh-oh, what are we in store for next week?" And from opening kickoff, the Jets dominated the entire first half to the point where I could still picture it. Randall Cunningham was sacked, or I think he was sacked. I don't think he got rid of the ball. And he came up out of the pile limping, and the entire place just erupted in cheer. Now, I never cheered for an injury, but he winds up limping to the sidelines. He ends up breaking his leg. And back then, okay, now this is how times have evolved. They would throw an injury report up on the scoreboard. And it was, Randall Cunningham, broken leg, will not return. Okay. Bubby Brister, you're up 21-0. Okay. I remember Johnny Mitchell caught a pass. He kind of like stopped in his tracks and went around the defender and he scored. Now, this is a very good Eagle team. Okay. And this is actually being coached by Rich Kotite. But he did bring him to the playoffs. I think 1 out of the 3 years he was there. He missed the playoffs by 1 game. But anyway, getting off track here. So the Jets are up 21-0. And I can remember there was a pass that Cunningham completed before he got injured to his receiver. And I'll be lying, but it was either Ronnie Lott or James Hasty. Actually, as he went to tackle the guy, ripped the ball out in one motion and scored like a 40-yard touchdown. The place was erupting. Okay, 21-0. I remember looking up at the clock, and I can still vividly remember this 30 years ago. And I said, I wish the time would move quicker. It's only such and such a time in the second quarter or third quarter. Well, lo and behold, Philly starts to come back. And I remember in the end zone that we were sitting in, okay, Bubby Brister threw this little pass to Mark Bavaro. Bavaro, at this point was late in his career, and he actually went over the top and scored. Almost like a running back after he caught the pass, went over the defender and scored, and that I believe got the game tied. But Boomer was on this day, and they were moving the ball, and like I said, I think he had 1 or 2 picks earlier. I think he had 1 earlier, and they're moving the ball, and they're basically in field goal range, and I had no doubt that he was going to score a touchdown. I mean, he was just the way he was moving. And he threw this pass, and my father said, it's going to be intercepted. And Eric Allen picked it off on like the 2-yard line. Okay? And I can still remember he started up straight, he cut to his left, and Leonard Marshall missed him. Okay? I think it wasn't Leonard Marshall. I forgot who the offensive lineman was. He missed him. Mala missed him, and he went down the sideline, and I can still remember, he got to the end zone, and there's Randall Cunningham's on crutches, and they gives him a high five, and he hands Randall Cunningham the football. All right, and it's like, how did that just happen? It was a 14-point swing because the Jets were going in for 7. Jets get the ball back again, and they move downfield, and Boomer can't put it in the end zone. And the Jets lost, and it was heartbreaking. And I can remember we parked over by, back then, the Brendan Byrne Arena or the Continental Airlines Arena, whatever you wanted to call it, and we took the shuttle from the stadium across to the highways to go there. And the shuttle was packed, and guys looked like they wanted to cry. It was one of the biggest turnarounds, come from behind wins I ever witnessed. It was in person, and it destroyed. I remember that one. I remember watching a game with my father at home, and it was I think it was Sanchez was the quarterback, and he threw a couple of picks, and they just could not beat the Eagles then. And then there was a game that we sat with, and my cousin Richie came with me to this game with my father. We sat in the handicap section, and the Eagles just kept running the same play. And it was the tight end or the running back out of the backfield, and it was just a swing pass, and they were picking up 8-9 yards at a pick. And they could not do anything. For some reason, the Jets and Pennsylvania teams, I mean, they have a very low winning percentage against the Steelers. And they have they have no winning percentage against the Eagles. So this is going to be a tough game. Okay, the Eagles are 5-0, and I wanted to bring up who they played and their scores. So the Eagles have played 5 games of 5-0. They beat the Patriots 25-20. Excuse me, I got to put my glasses on. Okay, so my eyes. They beat the Patriots 25-20. They beat the Minnesota Vikings 34-28. They beat Tampa Bay 25-11. They beat Washington 34-31. And they just beat the Chargers 23-14. They have scored at least 23 points in every game and have scored as much as 31 points. So the Jets are going to have to, first of all, keep their offense off the field, okay? Which means that the offense for the Jets have to sustain drives, long drives. I mean, it'd be great if Brees could rack off another one carry, 78-yard touchdown, but how many times can he do that? We need long, sustained drives. This is a very high-powered, very quick-moving, flowing offense. Reminds me a lot of Mahomes and the Chiefs, only with a little bit more running from their QB Ertz. It's going to be a tough task. You're going to have Philadelphia fans that are coming up the Turnpike to watch the game. You're going to have Jet fans who will be returning. I mean, you have Jet fans that go to every game, regardless of their record. But now that they won Sunday, and the defense is really starting to cycle, and nothing against the defense in the other games. They kept them in the Buffalo game, and they wound up eventually winning. They kept them in the Patriot game, and their offense, lost that game. They kept them in the KC game, and I'm not even going to get into the refs, but, Zach opened up. And then last week, I mean, you want to say it was on the offense? Yes. 5 trips or 4 trips into the red zone, you only score, you score four field goals, and your 2 touchdowns come on a 78-yard run and 1, fumble and scoop up. So the offense needs to really step up. I think you're going to see a lot of Brees Hall this week. I think you're going to see a lot, clock management where the Jets are going to try to control the clock, and that's what they're going to have to do. But they have to maybe throw on first downs and try to throw off the Philly defense, roll Zach out. I mean, the few times that Zach rolled out against the Chiefs and against Denver last week, he looked good. Listen, Zach missed a few plays last week. I'm not going to deny that. But he looks a lot different than the Patriot game. Now, you could say it's the weather. The Patriot game was a miserable, rainy, windy day. Well, the field is going to be a little wet because it's going to rain all day Saturday in the tri-state area. But it might just be breezy. But they said by game time, the rain should have subsided. The rain should be done by early morning, especially up there. So it may be a little slick on the field. But the key to this game right here is every time they get the ball, they have to score. Okay, and I'll take the 3 points, but they have to put the touchdown up on the board too. They have to. They cannot rely on Greg Zuerlein, who was AFC special teams player, to keep them in the game. I want to see Greg kicking extra points. I don't want to see him kicking field goals. But I'd rather see him kicking a field goal than us, punting. Wow, Mahomes just did like a whole pirouette, So it's still 3-0, 8:10 to go, second quarter, and it looks like the Chiefs are going to kick a field goal. So Denver's keeping themselves in this game within a touchdown. But that's where the Jets have this weekend. They're playing an NFC team. Listen, before the season started, okay, let's go back to my predictions. I had us at 3-3 going into the bye week. Okay, they can still get to 3-3. Only difference is I had this game as the loss. I had the Cowboys game as the win. So if you flip flop the Cowboys game and this, that's where you get 3-3 from. This is before the season. This is with Aaron Rodgers, 3-3. Okay, if we can get to 3-3 before the with Zach Wilson, after a 1-2 start or a 1-3 start, I should say, I will take it. I will take it. Then you get the bye week, and then you have the rest of the season to build off that. Is it possible? Hey, listen. Nobody thought once Aaron went down early in that, in the newborn portion of the game, that Zach was going to be able to just step in and get the Jets going to win, and that was a team effort from special teams, offense, and defense. Nobody thought the Jets could play head-to-head with the Chiefs, and I still don't want to get into the whole thing with the Chiefs and the calls, but they played head-to-head with the Chiefs. They can play head-to-head with the Eagles. And I think their defense is getting the respect from the handicappers because they're only getting 7 points. And like I said, I'm going to put my picks up in just a moment. So those are my outlook and my keys to the game. So first key, okay, ball control. Mix it up and control the clock. Even if you put 3 on the board, but you take 6 minutes off the clock, that is a successful drive. Okay? 2, put points on the board, score touchdowns. If you take 10 seconds when you score a touchdown, that's a successful drive. Okay? 3, contain the quarterback. They dealt with Josh Allen. They dealt with Mahomes. And now they're dealing with the quarterback from Philly, Ertz. Okay? They basically were able to contain them for the most part. Contain the Eagles quarterback. Okay? 4th point, special teams. Tilt the field in your favor. But remember this. They got 2 safeties 2 weeks in a row because they tilted the field and had the offense down deep. And it was penalties that the quarterback caused in the end zone. Okay? With Mahomes, I'm sorry, it was a face mask against the offensive lineman, I believe. And against the Broncos, it was intentional grounding against Russell Wilson. So if you tilt the field in your favor, that always helps. Because even if you don't get that safety, because, what are the odds? I got to see if there's odds on getting a safety 3 weeks in a row. That would be amazing. But you have Gibson as your returner. So if you have them pinned deep inside the 10, inside the 15, and they punt, you're hoping that Gibson's going to, field the punt at the 35 or 40 and get you across midfield or close to midfield. Okay? 5, coaching. I'm not going to lie. I was all for the Saleh hiring. I thought the first year, with Saleh, and that was, Zach's first year, and they won 3 games. And then his second year, last year they had that 5-game runoff, and they ended up, 7-10, and they won 1 game out of the playoffs. He was out-coached a lot of those games. This year, He was out coached except for the 2 wins. But I think the Buffalo game was an anomaly because the shock of Aaron Rodgers' injury just threw everybody off, and you could see they played with desperation, and they were able to pull that off. The Broncos game, Hackett, the whole Hackett Bowl, whatever you want to call it, they opened the playbook up for the most part. They blitz when they had to blitz. They cover when they had to cover. Yes, they did give up. I still remember on one of the final drives of the fourth quarter, 3rd and 15, they give up 21. You can't do that. He's got to be on top of his game. His offensive coordinator, Hackett, has to be on top of his game, calling this game. Okay? Erlich has to be on top of the defense. You know this is such a sloppy game. Kansas City just fumbled the punt. Kansas City had 4th and 1 inside I'm going to say the 7 or 8. They faked the field goal. The center went the holder went under center or something, or the kicker went under center, and they couldn't push it through. Denver got the ball back, and they just punted. And the punter looks like, I don't know if he lost in the lights, but it hit him in the chest, and he dropped it. So it's 3-0. Probably about 6 minutes left in the first half in Kansas City. So coaching is a huge part of this. I know everybody's eyes are going to be on Zach. Okay, the last 2 games he's shown improvement, and I was listening to the radio. I listened to Sports Talk all week, and this week I just found it. I don't know. I couldn't handle it. You had Brandon Tierney, who came out and is predicting the Jets are going to make the playoffs. Listen, Brandon, I like him. Like I've said many times on this podcast and this video, he is a Brooklyn guy. Our high schools were sports rivals. He knows a lot of people that I graduated with. I've spoken to him a few times. I've met him in person. He bleeds Yankees, Knicks, St. John's basketball, and Jets. And he has, in my opinion, the most highest regards and optimism for Zach Wilson and this year. Zach still has a lot to prove to me. But listening to these shows this week, okay, and you had, Joe Willie come out and say, after 2 weeks ago against the Patriot game, he didn't want Zach on the field anymore. He apologized. He's like, you showed me you can win. You showed me you could play. You also had Sal Licata, who was BT or Brandon Tierney's partner, saying, well, what did he do? And BT rambles off, I think it was, I forgot what his thing was. I think it was 16 of 26, 199 yards, no TDs, 1 interception. The interception, you could say was on him. He placed it in the wrong place. But Garrett Wilson has to become a defender or make a play on the ball to catch it. And the defender caught the ball, bobbled it, and caught it between his knees. I mean, so I'm not blaming Zach on that. And Licata's like, well, he didn't throw for 200 yards. He didn't. And I can't. And this is from people who are saying after Daniel Jones beat the Arizona Cardinals that he was a top 10 quarterback. Not to talk about the Giants, but they have a lot of issues going on too. But to say that Zach Wilson is not getting better, is regressing, I don't see it. Do I see he still does not see the whole field? Yes. That will come in time. So, there are 32 quarterbacks in this league that start. Very few of them are Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, who else do you want to say? Purdy, Brock Purdy. Very few people come out and play like that. They are special. Okay, you had, Kurt Warner, who came in when the Rams quarterback went down. Was it Green? I think his name was, and they, the fastest game on turf. So Zach Wilson to turn it around over 5 games is not going to happen. But I do see the progress he's making. He did scan the field. He still goes to his checkdowns. he will get confident. His offensive line, if his offensive line doesn't have him getting hit and he has the time, he will get confident. And then instead of doing a check down, maybe he will take that risk. I still think they need to throw downfield more. They don't throw downfield a lot. Their medium thrown passes. I think once in a while you got to go deep. You have Garrett Wilson. BT made a great point. Brandon said they need to bring in a wide receiver that could stretch the field with Garrett Wilson. Lazard and Cobb are not them. I know Zach likes Conklin. Conklin showed his Mark Bavaroism last week. But again, you can use a tight end, but you need something to stretch the defense. And I'm going to give Zach week to week. I'm not going to grade him on every little play he does. Bill Parcells always said your record is what the record says. He has 4 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions. So he's at a -1 in the touchdown to interception ratios. Oh, and there is Brittany Mahomes and Taylor Swift hugging. I just want to see the Chiefs lose just for that. I mean, and I like Mahomes, but this is just ridiculous. So anyway, I just want to show you my picks now for the rest of for this week. I picked 4 games. So that was quick. I know I was trying to use a whiteboard. Video editor is no longer available on the computer, so I'm now using a different software. So just having some glitches. But anyway, if you didn't see it, I'm going to try to make it a little bit longer in the future. Baltimore, Tennessee. Tennessee's getting 4 points. I think Baltimore to win this game outright. The 4 points, I think, is just enough. I think they'll beat them by more than a field goal. Then you have San Fran at Cleveland. Cleveland getting 9.5 points. Listen, Brock Purdy is putting up numbers, and San Fran is just clicking. They're flowing. 9.5 points is a lot, but I could see them beating them by 10 to 13 points. So I like San Fran on the road, giving 9.5. Minnesota at Chicago. Chicago getting 3. Justin Fields has shown the last couple of weeks that he's improving. Minnesota is 1-4. Kirk Cousins not what he was. And the Chiefs are just like playing schoolyard ball right now with Denver. It's 13-0. They're doing triple flea flickers and whatnot. So I have Chicago getting the 3 points at home, and I'll take them. And then the Jets playing the Eagles in New Jersey at the MetLife. Jets getting 7. Of course, I'm going to take the Jets. Something is going to have to stop here. Two things have to stop here. The 0-12 record against the Eagles all time, and the Eagles 5-0 this year. So somebody's winning streak is going to end, and hopefully, the Eagles' winning streak will have to end for the Jets to be victorious. So again, just to recap: Baltimore on the road giving 4 to Tennessee, San Fran on the road giving 9.5 to Cleveland, Chicago at home getting 3 over Minnesota, and the Jets at home getting 7 over the Bears. Like I said earlier, it is they are 0-12 against the Eagles, and Eagles are 5-0. Things will have to change up. Things will have to fall the Jets' way. Calls, the way the ball bounces, field position, whatnot. The Jets right now are not good enough. They're not playing well enough. I'm not saying they're a bad team. They're not playing well enough. They're not using all their weapons the way they should be used, or they're not successful in using them, so they can't afford any mistakes. Most teams can't afford many mistakes. Like Kansas City tonight, they made a few mistakes and they're still winning 13-0. So know your opponent and, go after them. With that being said, I'd love to hear from fellow Jet fans. What is your take on Zach? What is your take? And Pacheco is looking for a flag for being thrown out of bounds. I just don't get it. This is football. So if you go to the game, if you were in Denver last week, if you were, and that's a clean tackle. Excuse me. Tailgating, going to your friend's house, going to a bar to watch a game. We'd love to hear your game day rituals, what you do, where you sit. Show us pictures, and there are a few ways to reach us. So the first way to reach us is email, easiest way, at the Jets Takeoff at gmail.com. We are on Twitter. We tweet out, every day. At the Jets Takeoff is our Twitter handle. We are on TikTok now. The Jets Takeoff. We are on Instagram. The Jets Takeoff. So you can see a pattern here. We are obviously on YouTube. Please subscribe. Share this video with your friends. We'd love to hear from you. We don't do this for money. We do this as a labor of love, as a passion for the team. It's therapy sometimes, or most of the times. You can reach us on YouTube. The subscription on the account is The Takeoff. The channel is at the Jets Takeoff. You can Google that. You can Google my name. It is now 16-0. Kansas City is still a 2-point game. And that's where we are now. Let's hope that we have a good video either, late Sunday. It's a 4:30 game, so I don't know about a video Sunday night unless something really sparks that video. But I'll get one out at the latest Monday, and hopefully we get some good feedback. Have a great rest of your week and weekend. Be safe, be healthy, be vigilant. I know there's a few things going on right now that they're saying around the country to be vigilant. So please know your surroundings. Have a blessed weekend, a blessed weekend, whichever you call it. And let's go Jets.